OBO, Omo Baba Olowo, the son of a rich man. But Davido didn't stop at the inheritance. He turned the privilege into power, rhythm into revenue, and the sound from the streets of Lagos into a global economy. From Atlanta to Lagos, London to Dubai, Davido built more than a career. He built an empire, a network of music, fashion, streaming, real estate, and philanthropy, all powered by charisma, culture, and the billion-dollar beats. This is not just the story of an artist. It's the rise of a brand, a movement, a mogul redefining what it means to be African and global. This is the story of Davido, the billion-dollar beats. Born David Adedeji Adeleke in 1992, he came into a world of privilege. His father, Adedeji Adeleke, a billionaire businessman, a man who built universities, not mixtapes. His mother, Veronica Adeleke, a university lecturer and performer. Grace and art in one soul. Music ran quietly through the family's story. But for young David, it wasn't quiet at all. It was calling. At Oakwood University in Alabama, he was supposed to study business. Instead, he spent nights in dorm rooms producing beats, chasing the pulse of sound that made him feel alive. Then came the choice, the rebellion that would define him. He dropped out, packed his bags, and flew back to Lagos, laptop in hand, dream on fire. In his cousin's small studio, the sound that would change Afrobeats began to take shape. Raw, loud, joyous, unapologetically young. Then came Damiduro, a declaration, a warning, a party, a revolution. By 2011, Nigeria had found a new prince of pop, one who refused to be defined by his father's fortune. Davido had arrived, not as the billionaire's son, but as the hustler who turned beats into belonging. From the very beginning, Davido understood power, not just the power of sound, but the power of a name. OBO, Omo Baba Olowo, the son of a wealthy man. What began as a playful nickname became an empire's foundation, a symbol of aspiration, gold chains, designer sneakers, and the loud, unstoppable energy of success. By 2013, Davido was more than a hitmaker. He was an institution. He founded HKN Music, not just to release his own tracks, but to build a creative ecosystem. He signed and mentored young artists, B-Red, Shino Rambo, and others, proving that he wasn't only a performer, but a builder of platforms. As the hits multiplied, the business grew louder. MTN, Guinness, Infinix, Close Up, brand deals worth hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed in, and every campaign came with that signature Davido swagger. But the real magic wasn't in money, it was in the mindset. While others were chasing endorsement checks, Davido was negotiating equity. Instead of taking cash alone, he took ownership. Instead of being the face of a product, he became part of its profits. This was the quiet evolution of OBO. From artist to entrepreneur, from performer to portfolio builder. In the glitter of light and the roar of concerts, Davido was doing the one thing many artists never master, turning fame into a franchise. By 2016, Davido had already conquered the charts, but now he wanted something bigger than solo fame. He wanted a dynasty. And so, DMW, Davido Music Worldwide, was born. It wasn't just another record label. It was a talent accelerator, a creative powerhouse built on loyalty, brotherhood, and hustle. A place where rising stars could shine under his flame, and together they light up the world. He signed Miyokun, a banker's son discovered through Instagram. His debut single, Eleko, became an instant national anthem. Then came Dremo, lyrical and raw. Peruzzi, the writer with melodies like gold. Each artist added a new rhythm to DMW's pulse, and together they redefined the sound of Nigerian pop. Under Davido's guidance, DMW became more than music. It became a movement. Collaborations turned into family projects, success turned into shared profits. Streaming numbers soared, over 1 billion plays worldwide, and every stream, every download poured money not just into Davido's pocket, but into the ecosystem he built. While others saw competition, Davido saw collaboration. While others were building labels, he built legacies. He wasn't just producing stars, he was multiplying in wealth. He was turning fame into infrastructure. DMW wasn't just a label. It was the sound of a generation united by ambition and led by a man who understood that real power is shared. As Afrobeat took flight, Davido was one of its pilots. The boy from Atlanta and Lagos has become a global ambassador, selling out arenas from London to Los Angeles, from Johannesburg to Dubai. Each show grossed millions of dollars. Each night, a statement that African sound had gone global. Then came the big move, a multi-million-dollar record deal with Sony Music and RCA Records, cementing Davido's place not just as an artist, but as an international business brand. On streaming platforms, Davido was rewriting history. Fall became the longest charting Nigerian pop song ever on Billboard. His catalog crossed over 1 billion streams, and behind those numbers was a revolution, because in the new music economy, data is currency. Every click, every stream, every replay meant royalties, audience insights, and leverage for the next deal. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, they weren't just platforms anymore. They were global banks for African sound. And Davido was cashing in, not just with rhythm, but with reach. Through hustle, innovation, and digital mastery, Davido turned a beat from Lagos into dollars in New York, pounds in London, and yen in Tokyo. He wasn't just making hits anymore, he was making history and hard currency. The world was no longer listening to Afrobeat as a genre, it was buying it, and Davido was leading the charge. In 2021, Davido turned a casual birthday tweet into one of the most talked about philanthropic gestures in Africa. What started as a joke, "Send me money if you know I've given you a hit," became a social media experiment in generosity. Within days, over 200 million naira, nearly $500,000, poured into his account from fans, friends, and celebrities. And then he flipped the script. Davido donates 250 million naira to orphanages across Nigeria. He added 50 million naira of his own money and gave it all away. But beyond the headlines, it was a masterclass in modern branding. Philanthropy became a strategy. It showed financial power with empathy, influence with impact, as to wealth with purpose. Corporate endorsement surged, public trust deepened, and Davido's brand value in both fame and finance multiplied. In the age of social capital, Davido had proved one truth: doing good can also mean doing well. By 2023, Afrobeat was no longer a genre, it was an economy. A billion-dollar wave rolling from Lagos to London, from Accra to Atlanta, and at the center of it all stood Davido, the showman who turned beats into blueprints. His album, Timeless, broke records in real time, over 130 billion streams in just 10 days, topping charts across continents. He performed at the Qatar World Cup, handled arenas in Paris, London, and New York, and transformed his name into a global business trademark. merchandise, NFTs, streetwear collabs. Every drop was a statement of power, proof that African creativity could generate global wealth. Davido had evolved from artist to enterprise, from a voice on the mic to a mogul at the table, and the sound echoed across continents. It carried something deeper than rhythm, the promise of a continent's creative future. He wasn't just making hits, he was building a billion-dollar culture, one beat, one vision, one generation at a time. In the end, Davido's story isn't just about charts, trophies, or streaming numbers. It's about ownership, about building and believing that Africa's sound could fund its own future. Today, his fortune sits in tens of billions, but his influence in music, fashion, philanthropy, and global commerce is worth far more. He redefined what it means to be an African artist, to own your masters, to lead your team, to turn applause into equity. From his father's boardrooms in Lagos to the bright lights of London and Los Angeles, Davido turned rhythm into revenue and melody into movement. He became proof that creativity could be currency and that legacy could be louder than wealth. He came from money, but built an empire of his own, and in doing so, he scored the soundtrack of Africa's billion-dollar future.